Painter's Experiment. Once upon a time, in a small but vibrant town, there lived a famous painter whose name was on everyone's lips. His paintings were admired in galleries, his exhibitions drew great crowds, and critics hailed him as a master of colors and emotions. People clapped, cheered, and praised his work endlessly, and wherever he went, admirers gathered to shower him with compliments. Yet, despite the glory, a seed of doubt began to grow inside the painter's heart. "Do people truly admire my art?" he wondered one night as he gazed at his unfinished canvas. "Or do they only flatter me in person, while secretly mocking me behind my back?" This thought tormented him. He longed to know the truth. The next morning, he carried one of his prized paintings to a busy city square, where countless people passed by each day. Beneath the painting, he placed a simple note. "If you see any mistake in this painting, please mark it." Then, with a nervous heart, he walked away. All day the townsfolk gathered around the painting. Some leaned in closely, others pointed and whispered, and many reached out with pens, chalks, and even bits of charcoal to mark what they thought was wrong. By evening, when the painter returned, his heart sank into despair. His masterpiece was covered in marks, hundreds of them, circling, crossing, and highlighting supposed mistakes. The painter stood frozen. "Is my art truly so full of flaws?" he thought, his pride crumbling. With a heavy heart he took the painting home, hiding it away. Days passed, and the once joyful painter withdrew into silence. His brushes lay untouched, his colors dried, and his passion dimmed. He even began avoiding people, too afraid to face more judgment. One day his dearest friend came to visit. Seeing the painter's gloom, he asked gently, "My friend, why do you look so defeated? What burden weighs on your heart?" With a trembling voice, the painter shared the whole story, the experiment, the marks, the humiliation. When he finished, tears clouded his eyes. The friend listened patiently, then smiled knowingly. "I understand now," he said, "but perhaps the fault was not in your painting, but in your question. Come, let us try again, this time, with a small change." The painter hesitated, but trusting his friend, he agreed. The next morning, the two of them carried another fresh painting to the same city square. Once again, they placed it before the crowd. But this time, the note beneath it read, "If you see a mistake in this painting, please correct it." The painter and his friend left and waited. All day, people stopped to admire the painting. Some tilted their heads thoughtfully, some nodded with approval, and others whispered among themselves. Yet no one lifted a hand to correct anything. Evening came, and when the painter returned, he was astonished. The painting stood exactly as it had in the morning, flawless and untouched. The painter stared at it in confusion. "How can this be? Yesterday everyone saw countless mistakes, today no one changed a single thing." His friend smiled warmly and placed a hand on his shoulder. "Do you see now? Yesterday you asked people to find faults. And anyone can do that. Pointing out mistakes requires no knowledge, no skill, and often, no real understanding. But today, you ask them to correct the mistakes. That is different. To correct requires knowledge, patience, and expertise. Few people possess those. The problem was never with your art, but with whom you are asking, and what you are asking them for." The painter's eyes filled with new light. He finally understood. The opinions of faultfinders had weighed him down, but their criticism was shallow. What truly mattered was the voice of those who understood art, the ones who could guide him, not just criticize him. From that day forward, the painter returned to his easel with fresh confidence. He painted with more passion than ever, no longer troubled by the voices of those who could only point fingers. Instead, he chose to listen to those who had the wisdom to help him grow. His art flourished, and so did his joy. Moral of the story: anyone can find faults. It is the easiest thing to do. But true guidance comes only from those who understand and can build, not just tear down. Do not let the voices of shallow critics steal your confidence. Seek feedback from those who have walked the path before you, and value the advice of those who know how to correct, not just complain. If you like my story, please like, comment, and subscribe.